Policies of neglect, and that is what today's topic is all about. So stay tuned on the show, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things to pile into. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning into PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host. Today, we're going to be talking about policies of neglect. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today, and with me being here in Victoria and Neil being in, well, Surrey. Yeah, it's big Surrey. Surrey is the biggest municipality of British Columbia, and it's growing. It's really growing. And so is the PWD Allies podcast. From what I'm hearing, a lot of people in my community are tuning in to the PWD Allies podcast. So thank you,
Yeah, that's
people
great.
that I've been hearing. And it's really spreading really good. And I'm really proud of that. So I want to thank each and every one of you for subscribing and tuning into our show. We talk about so many things, and that's where I'm going to start today's show off as we talk about a lot of lived experience stories. We bring in people from all walks of life of lived experience stories, politicians, transit planners, you name it, we bring them on. And if you'd like to come on to the show and talk about your lived experience stories, how it affects your life. I mean, is it government policies of neglect? Is
Hmm.
it, living in legislated poverty, government neglect? I mean, purposely the policies. We'd love to hear from you. We'll line you up. We have lots of spaces that open up on our calendar. And I know who's coming on because the calendar shows me in advance who's coming on. But I guess that's where I'm gonna kind of branch that off where now today where I branch off, it's been a sober week for me on a personal level. So I just want to kind of get into that right now. Um, you know, a lot of you realize that I've been going through a lot of hard times lately. I've been kind of taking some holiday time here and there, personal time, breaking up the summer into segments. Why we've been doing that is we've been trying to go and visit Sonia's grandma, who was in hospital. And I say the past tense now was um, we had gone in to see her in the summer due to the transit strike because of Transdev purposely neglecting to deal with their bargaining agreement with Cowichan Transit, which was contracted out by BC Transit to Transdev, a third party company in France. Um, it's basically left a lot of people homeless. People lost their jobs. People can't commute to the community from Victoria to Cowichan to Duncan and surrounding areas. From Nanaimo, they can get to Cowichan, but they can't get to Cowichan from Victoria. So it's really caused a lot of problems. People can't even get to diagnostic appointments or any kind of appointments. They can't get to food banks. They can't get to their jobs that they work at in the communities. It's just been a whole mess. And it's been a real whole mess for Sonia and myself because Sonia's grandma had taken a real bad fall in her home in the in June. And right away we thought, well, we need to go and see her, right? Because she was in hospital, and obviously you want to go and see a family member. And family's been really very supportive over the time because understanding that we can't get to and from Nanaimo. So Sonia's dad had to come all the way out and pick us up in Victoria, drive us all the way out to Nanaimo, and then take us back from Nanaimo back to Victoria, and then drive all the way back again. So two round trips,
Yeah,
and
and remind people that don't know, remind people what
two
the
hours.
it's 2 hours. Yeah,
2 hours. It takes two
yeah,
hours each way. I mean, that's
yeah,
8 hours of driving, where
yeah.
simply we could have just jumped on a bus and actually went out on public transit and she went out there from Victoria and made our way out. When there's an emergency, like an emergency, you need to go and like stop what you're doing if you can and go and see a family member. Well, it was emergency, but we couldn't get there.
Hmm.
And I talked to BC Transit. Oh, well, yeah, you could go and take BC ferries, take the whole long way around. Oh, you can go to Brentwood Bay, go to Mill Bay. I go, problem is there's no transit. Oh, really? Yeah, because it's run by Cowichan Transit. They're on strike. I said,
Hmm.
because you are allowing Transdev to provide the service. You opted it out, right?
Hmm.
Contract out. So battling with all that, trying to figure out how do we get to Nanaimo to go and see her grandma and see her parents too, because we hadn't
Mhm.
seen them since April.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's quite a while. And they're getting older, right? We want to spend more time with her parents too. And
Yep.
I got relatives, out that way too, and I want to see them. And so we went out and saw. We finally did out. Long story short, we did get out there to see her grandma in hospital. Good days, bad days. I could see, her slipping a bit because her age. I mean, she was 94 years old,
Mhm.
and real feisty lady. I mean, her and I would get into debates. I'd talk about politics and who she likes and who she doesn't like. But at the end of the day, she said it really came down to policies. It really came down to government policies, and they could be changed just like that. She said, just like that. And it's such a
Mhm.
political will. She said it's just they need to be motivated to do so.
Yeah.
So we got into a lot of discussions, and um, so we spent a lot of time with her, and we got back, and then we started the podcast again, and we got the shows going. We had a really bad cold over the summer too, for about 3 weeks there. It just would not go away. And so that really put a really corker in for us going out to visit her grandma in hospital. So that kind of delayed us getting out. So we spent as much quality time as we could getting out there and spending time with her. And it was nice. It was so nice to see her, not realizing that, fast forward, her health condition deteriorated. She got sick, more sick when she was in hospital, and had gone through rehabilitation, they call it, into another area where fitness. They were showing her how to move her arms, and she had fractured her hip, just so everybody knows, and she
Mhm.
had fallen. And she had got really sick too. But they, it's kind of rehabilitation process where you got to move your arm and move your legs, and so you're not stiff, right? I mean, get limber. She did the best she could. Um, but coughing was a huge issue, going forward for her, due to her health condition. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, very frail, right? I mean, at that age, but she did the best she could. And so we got a call, from Sonia's mom, saying that grandma's not doing well. The doctors had called and said that she had kind of really slipped and deteriorated a lot more than when we saw her. I'm like, oh no. But they were keeping an eye on her, and then COVID actually struck in the hospital. Her mother wanted to see her. She was not able to go in, and later, I guess that evening, she then got a call again saying that, prepare, your mother for, the end of life process, because she was really coughing a lot and really not doing well. So they
Mhm.
had made a decision to give anesthetic, if I get that word right, Neil.
Anesthetic.
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 It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like when they put you under, right? And
Mhm.
they had made that decision, and made her as comfortable as she could. Um, she then fell into a very deep sleep, and that was it. We got a call on Sunday evening on September 7th saying that she's gone, uh, and she passed away. She passed away peacefully in her sleep, and God rest her soul. I'm
Mhm.
going to miss her a lot. Sonia's going to miss her gratefully a lot, because Sonia enjoyed phoning her. She would just, hi, Grandma. Oh, hi, Sonia. And they would have a long talk. I mean, they would talk
Mhm.
for over an hour. Sometimes I think one day, Sonia, was it almost 2 hours you were on the phone talking to her. And I mean, that's one thing that Sonia's going to miss a lot, gratefully a lot. I'm going to miss a lot talking about just about politics with her. I mean, yeah, because she went through a lot. I mean, she went through the Great Depression. She went through
Mhm.
recessions. Um, you talk about housing. I mean, why is things happening the way they are? Why are things in the world happening the way they are? And so I got a lot of knowledge from her, and learning from her, and comparing what my mom used to tell me when I was a kid. And so I would kind of compare all these things back and forth.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I'm going to miss, gratefully. But on the positive note, I really enjoyed the visits that I did have with her. I got to know her over years. Such a lovely, dear lady. she meant so well and for others and cared so much. And so she's going to be deeply missed within the family. But first, also, I want to thank each and every one of you. Where you could. Um, when you took the initiative to thank me very much.
Yeah, you got a lot of support online
A lot of
on
support.
the YouTube channel here and on Twitter,
Yeah, I
and
got
that was great.
a lot of thank yous and people who maybe didn't know what we had gone through. And I totally understand because maybe you're just tuning in now and you're just hearing the news now that what had happened. And I thank you for your support too. I'm just speechless because I mean the comments that were coming in that were so supportive to Sonia and myself,
Hmm.
and we took a little bit of time where for grieving for ourselves, and so I was very slow in responding to messages. I would just heart symbol them. I didn't even respond. There was a couple that I threw out like some gifs, here and there. Um, so we really had to go through a lot of I guess soul searching on how to cope with the grieving process. I
Hmm.
personally had gone through that myself with losing my mom and my mother, and so it was kind of reliving a little bit of that moment again for a bit. I was really feeling really down and out myself of in that morning, but that's normal. That's a normal
Hmm.
process of going through that of the loss of well, it's like so lonely of saying, well, I can't phone that person now. I can't see that person,
Well,
but you
and
can. You
you
can
know,
go.
and this is why I wanted to do the show, Brent, because
Yeah.
I mean, I cleared it with you and Sonia
Yeah.
beforehand. I said, you know, it's a truth and a fact that almost nobody likes to talk about death, right? I mean, it's
Mm,
one of those taboo things. It's like, let's not talk about death. And when somebody dies, it's like, what do you say? You know, like nobody has, I lost my first wife, and even when I hear somebody experiences death again, it's like, what do you say, right? And if you don't
mhm.
know what to say, then probably the best thing is to say almost nothing and say, I'm sorry for your loss and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But it is a hard thing. Death is a hard thing, and not very many people want to talk about it. So I wanted to clear it with you to
Mhm,
see if you wanted to use the death of Sonia's grandma as an opportunity to talk about death. So we had already planned the show
mhm,
around Sonia's grandma for doing this show, but then in the interim, on Wednesday we had the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Uh, Now, I have to say, yesterday, Dan Trays put out a video about Charlie Kirk's assassination as well, and I found it interesting that what he said because I have the same opinion as him, is that I didn't really know Charlie Kirk by name. Um, like for whatever reason, maybe I should have known. But I think here in Canada, I think almost everybody did know him, but I didn't know him by name. So it's not a frontal cortex thing where I mean I saw him all the time doing debates. Like he loved doing debates, so I'd see all these videos of him, but I thought, well, this is a cool debate, but I didn't really know who he was. And Dan said the same thing yesterday on his thing, is that like I think everybody knew who he was, but maybe didn't know his name. And so, but now that he's been assassinated, you can see that in a small way, I did a little bit of a tribute today to our American friends. This is a little bit of Americana here, the American heroes. So I want to, as in solidarity with our American friends, it's really terrible what happened.
Yeah.
And
Well, with Charlie Kirk, the debates were he'd be there to listen to all sides. From my
yeah,
understanding, as I was reading up on a little bit about him, and he would listen, be more than welcome to listen to all debates, and he would challenge people on that, and saying they give me the
yeah,
facts, they prove. prove me
Yeah,
why are you saying certain things? But he would never not take that debate. He would always listen.
yeah.
And that's the thing that I think that stands out the most is uh, I mean, there's political sides where, but he would take whatever side it was, and he would listen to whatever side it was.
Well, let's be honest though. I mean, he was a conservative.
Yes.
And he did have a Christian faith, so he was a big believer in God, just like I am. I'm a Christian man as well,
Mhm.
and so I mean his faith was important to him. But I mean, one of his quotes was, and I'm not going to get it exactly right, but one of his quotes was, it's a problem. It's a problem when we all stop talking. When we all stop talking, that's a problem.
Mhm.
And so a big part of his messaging and a big part of why he created the movement that he did, the political movement that he did with conservative values, was to get people talking.
Mhm.
Um, and one of the narratives that's is going around big on Twitter since the assassination of Charlie Kirk is that no one should die because of a political opinion. And that's the
Yeah,
truth. That is the truth. I mean, just because you
absolutely.
have an opinion, that does not give anybody a license to kill another person just because you disagree with their opinion.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that too, where he said that he didn't want to see or hear people being silenced out because of their
Yeah,
opinion. And that
yeah,
reminds me of a time where it's kind of a parallel. I was thinking about that early this morning, that he didn't want people to be silenced out. That their opinion is their opinion, but he didn't want to see violence. Like there was no violence. He said in his last quotes that he made at his
yeah,
rally
yeah.
that like too many. They asked him how many. He says too many, and the meaning too many. There's too much violence, like
But then he was shot,
killed,
so it
and
seemed
then he
like it
gets
was set up. It seemed like it was
yeah,
set up. Yeah,
yeah, and with
yeah.
like that parallel where he didn't want to hear people being silenced out. That reminds
Mhm.
me of a time where there was somebody who had told me at a town hall who said, "Well, you need to keep your advocacy, tone it down, otherwise you'll be
Yeah,
silenced out."
stop
So
talking.
yeah, you'll be
Stop
silenced
talking.
out
Yeah,
because it's like you're advocating too much.
yeah,
And fast forward over time at
yeah.
other town halls, I remember talking to our former premier, John Horgan, who was the premier of British Columbia, and God rest your soul, John.
Mhm.
I brought that same quote up to him at that time, and I said, "Yeah, John, I remember a time I was at a town hall meeting, and I told him, I said I wouldn't say who, and he goes, no, that's
Yeah,
fine. I said, but somebody told me to tone down the advocacy because
yeah,
if you push the narrative too far, people are going to silence you out." And he
yeah,
goes, what do you mean? I said, you got to hold the politicians accountable. He says, I'm the premier. You got to hold me accountable, Brent. Don't be scared. Don't be
yeah,
shy. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, don't be rude. I mean, don't be rude and obnoxious and use swear words and curse words because otherwise, like, yeah, you will be silenced out. Like, I mean, but I mean, you can use
Yeah.
action words of saying now, the word now, or different.
Well, you make a good point, Brent, because I mean, this goes all the way back to when you approached me initially about doing, even back uh, for the Twitter Spaces.
Yeah,
You said, "Can you help me? Can you help me do this show?"
yeah,
And and I said, "Sure." But what was my one condition, Brent? I said, "I'm only going to do it. I'm only going to do it if we can have fun doing it." And
exactly.
the reason why I said that is because nobody wants to hear two advocates or three advocates or four advocates, how many advocates? Nobody wants to hear advocates come on a podcast and just bellyache and complain.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to hear that, right?
no,
So you have to kind of mix the sugar in with the vinegar, yeah,
yeah, and that's why I
or
have some funny stuff in where I say, well, minister. I mean,
yeah,
it's all about policies. And
yeah.
I love policies where I don't have to be held accountable, minister. you know,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I
okay with
mean,
that,
but
but
it's true though, right? I mean,
yeah,
you
it
you
is
have
true.
to have that balance of holding them to account, but at the
Yeah.
same time sprinkling in enough fun
Yeah.
and enough irreverence
Yeah.
where we're not taking ourselves too seriously, where people can say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna tune in because these guys aren't just always belly aching and always complaining. They're having fun while they're doing it, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Oh,
But to get back, to Charlie Kirk again. I mean,
mhm,
like I said, his thing was let's not stop talking, and
mhm.
that was his big thing. And yes, you may not agree with everything that he stood for. I mean, I can point to one thing I know about him now that I've kind of read up about him in a little bit. Like I said, I knew of him, but I didn't know him by name. Just like
Mhm.
Dan was saying on his video. But one of the things that I found out was that he, for the most of his life, Charlie Kirk was a supporter of Martin Luther King. Like he called Martin Luther King a hero and a cultural icon. And I would agree with those statements. That Martin Luther King is a hero and a cultural icon and all that. But then Charlie Kirk's opinion of for whatever reason, Charlie Kirk's opinion of Martin Luther King soured in the last couple of years. I'm not really sure. I'm not
Mhm.
sure really sure why that is. But at the same time, it's interesting
Mhm.
that he also was a big we have to say he was a big Trump supporter. He helped Trump in the last election. He Charlie Kirk was never directly involved in politics or in the Trump administration. Like he stayed separate from that.
Mhm.
But one of the things that Trump, for example, is gone on public record as saying is that he credits Charlie Kirk with kind of bringing over the ethnic vote, bringing over the black vote,
Mhm.
which is interesting
Mhm. Yeah.
when you consider that from what I've read that Charlie Kirk's opinion of Martin Luther King had changed in the last couple of years. So you can see how he was a man of maybe division. Like you can
Mhm.
see, well, I don't agree with that. Also, we can say too that he was a supporter of the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Again, which is kind of ironic, right? I mean,
Mhm. Yeah.
and there, I mean, on some level, I can agree with it. Yes, you have the right to defend yourself, but I disagree with the fact that you know, anybody can walk into a gun store
Yeah.
and walk out with a high-powered, assault rifle. Like how is that a thing? I mean, yeah, sure, have a handgun, sure, if you want to protect yourself, but I don't think everybody should be walking around with high-powered assault rifles.
Well, yeah. And
That should not be a thing. You
standing in a
know,
rally, I mean, on top of a rooftop, and
yeah,
somebody like there's
yeah.
definitely something definitely wrong in the law.
But again, it is ironic that Charlie Kirk agreed with the right to bear arms.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is kind of an irony there.
Yeah, and the sad part is that Charlie Kirk left behind a family. He was
Yeah.
30 years old, a wife and two children. And so my condolences go out to his
Mm.
family. I'm really sorry what happened. So standing in here, well, sitting here in Canada and hearing that tragic news, what happened at the rally, and Mike, I say my condolences go out to Charlie Kirk,
Mhm.
your family, and um, it's just so much violence that happens in society, and it doesn't have to be like violence doesn't have to be anywhere.
No.
And again, it's policies. It comes down to government policies
Well,
allowing
yeah.
things.
Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you, but I was just going to say, well, let's transition to the actual show
yeah,
and talk about policies because one of
yes.
the things that I was going to say to just leave off on Charlie Kirk, one of
Mhm.
his big beliefs, one of his huge big beliefs was that life matters. that
Absolutely.
all life, like I'm sitting here. I'm gonna say this as a Christian man because I am a Christian man.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here because God breathed life into me.
Hmm.
You know, God created me. He gave me life. He like obviously God thinks I'm important. If he gave me life, God must think I'm important. And if God gave you life, he must think you're important. If God gave Sonia life, he must think Sonia's important. Like
Hmm.
God breathes life into all of us, right? And that's one thing that Charlie Kirk was big on, is that let's respect life. Let's respect what life is. Let's respect what death is.
Hmm.
And so let's kick off the show
Yeah.
saying
Yeah. And first of all, we the mug. Yeah, the PWD Allies mug here. Yeah. Thanks.
there's the mug, yeah. and
There's the
that's
mug.
and that's Trisha again. We have to say,
Yeah, and that's Trisha. Thank you very much, Trisha. I love the mug. This is one of my favorite mugs now.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's a mug that. What's inside the mug?
Did you put Bailey's in there now?
It's missing something. I don't know what is missing, but it's yeah, it's definitely a nice mug.
But I did want to say, like, now that we're transitioning to the
Yeah,
actual show,
yeah.
is that this is something again that Charlie Kirk stood for, is the importance of what life means.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of government policy that does not respect life. It does not respect death. And we have four things we can go over quickly, and we've gone through them before, so we can kind of go through them a little bit rapid fire, honestly.
Yeah.
But one of the things we can start with is MAID.
Hmm.
Medical assistance in dying.
Yeah.
Uh, MAID is responsible. Like nowhere else in the world, there's more deaths attributed to MAID in Canada than anywhere else in the world.
Mhm.
And
Now,
and and isn't that something to not be proud of?
yeah.
The fact that there's more deaths attributed to MAID in Canada than anywhere else in the world. I mean, that to me is disgusting because that again, you're not respecting life when you say that we're just going to condone medically assisted suicide and say that's okay, like God put you here, but we can take you out, and this idea that if I'm here, I have the right to end my life whenever I want. Well, no, like in my opinion, no. Okay, I'm saying my opinion
Yeah.
here now, but
Okay.
in my opinion, no, you don't, because I mean, God put me here. God has the authority to take me out. Nobody else does.
Mhm.
You know?
Well, when I hear people needing healthy food, they're pleading for healthy food, malnutrition. I hear it on the news all the time. News stations, doesn't matter what station I tune to. I tune to online. I hear about more and more people lining up to go to food banks. Food insecurity. They're not getting all the proper nutritional food that they can get at a food bank. Wherever they go to the grocery store, they can't buy the most value for your dollar now. You're trying to stretch the dollar. You can't get enough value. So now you're having to pick and choose between what you have and have nots, what you want,
Yeah,
what you really need, but you
yeah,
can't afford to get.
yeah.
So now it puts more malnutrition into your diet, right?
Yeah.
So, and I
And
mean,
and that in itself is just not respecting life, right? Because
yeah,
you're
yeah,
you're
that's not
saying
respecting life.
you don't deserve to be healthy.
Exactly. So now you become
Yeah,
healthy. Now you put more. Now
yeah,
it puts more strain on our healthcare
yeah,
system. And
yeah,
now the government say, oh well, you're not healthy. Like say the individual, you're not healthy. Well, they're
yeah,
saying no, I want to be healthy. Oh,
yeah.
but we're not going to give you.
Like
We're not
like
going
I
to give
said on
you.
the last podcast that we did, I said like the vast majority of people with disabilities, we want to be healthy. We invest in our health
Mhm.
because, like I said, when you have a disability, you're behind the eight ball already. You're
Yeah.
behind the eight ball already when you have a disability, right? When you're born
That's
with a
what they say,
disability,
aid before made. So you give people the aid, you give
yeah,
them the
give them
help,
the aid,
health
give them the
care.
aid and say, you know what, we're going to respect your life. We're
Yep,
going to respect the life that you've been given,
yep.
and we're going to support you with the life that you've been given
Hmm.
and give you the best life possible.
Yeah,
But
we're gonna give you the tools to help
yeah,
you, but and then they say, oh well, actually maybe not. Policy says, oh well,
yeah,
yeah, well, we'll do it eventually, or baby steps, or there's more to do, and it's all
yeah,
these excuses. So when I hear the word more to do, to
yeah.
me, it's like kicking the can down the road. It's like, no, don't want to deal with it now. Somebody else will deal with it.
I,
And to me, it's disrespectful.
Yeah, I did want to quickly shout out. We debated whether to do this or not, but I did want to quickly shout out Mitchell Tremblay.
Yeah.
There's some history with Mitchell Tremblay. Actually, we have to say he goes by the name of ODS Poor on Twitter. There's some history with him. There is that he was one of the people that were responsible for kind of ending your show on Twitter Spaces. Unfortunately. So there's a little bit of bitter feelings there. But I'm calling him out not to say that. I'm actually calling him out to kind of throw a bouquet, and I'm really happy because we have to say that Mitchell Tremblay for the longest time was a big proponent, a big advocate on being like he wanted to have the right to kill himself. He was a proponent of MAID. He says, I deserve to have the right to kill myself if I want to. Um, and it's just interesting. I mean, it's great, but he's kind of done a 180 where
Mhm.
you can see that he's really respecting the fact that he has life now you know, um, and that's what all people with disabilities should really be trumpeting more is our right to life, not our right to death, not our right to death, but our right to life. You know, and
Mhm.
and and like I don't follow Mitchell Tremblay on Twitter. But I just even when you don't follow somebody on Twitter, you can still see some of their posts. And
Yeah.
and that's what's happening. I still see this post, and I have to say that you can tell that he's really turned a corner. He's respecting the fact that he has life now.
Mhm.
He's respecting the fact that he was given life, and you can see that he's kind of turned the corner. He doesn't want to really talk about MAID as much now,
Mhm.
and I think that's great. And we should acknowledge that he's kind of turned the corner, and so I congratulate him on that. I do.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think
Yeah.
more people with disabilities, again, we have to be celebrating the fact that we have life, not the fact that we have right to kill ourselves.
Well, yeah, and kind of, I'll kind of piggyback off of that conversation on that. It's, you're right. Like I can see his post too. I can't interact with him,
Hmm.
because he has me blocked on Twitter, X, and to me, it's like silencing a person outright. Um,
Hmm.
it was a disagreement that I said, well, I still remember what I said. I'll do everything I can as an advocate, as a self advocate, or as an advocate for, well, I mean, within my community, and as other advocates across the country, I'll do everything I can to help you get the tools so that you can try to have a better way of life.
Hmm.
And that's where you're right, Neil. Like he had said, well, I have a right to go with mate, and I'm glad that he's done a 180 on that, like
Hmm.
where
Super
value.
glad, super glad that
Yeah,
he's done that.
yeah. And one thing I've learned in life, of regrets, of looking, of saying woulda could, that old saying is woulda coulda shoulda didn't do.
Hmm.
You say, well, darn, maybe I shouldn't have said certain things, or I should have said certain things. I've come to a point in life where I value people in my life, or interactions with. Sometimes in life you just have to put things behind you, and in some
Hmm.
cases, and make amends. You have to try to make amends on certain things, and you say, you know what, we have a lot in common, let's work with that situation.
Hmm.
When I've learned things too, is like when I make a mistake, and I learned this from Mr. Horgan, and as the former
Hmm.
premier of BC, he taught me a lot regarding this. And so this kind of piggybacks of what you just mentioned regarding Mr. Tremblay, is when you make a mistake, and this came from our former premier on a
Mhm.
one-to-one basis. He goes, Brent, when you make a mistake, you say, look, I'm sorry. I'll do the best I can. I shouldn't have done that, or I'll do the best
Yeah.
I can to be better and to listen and to work with that person the best way you can. Sometimes you can't work with that person, right?
And you
Yeah,
know what, Brent? Just because you mentioned John Horgan, it kind of triggered
yeah,
me to go back a
yeah.
little bit in our conversation because I did want to actually throw a bouquet now, talking about throwing bouquets to Mitchell Tremblay. I also wanted to throw a bouquet uh, to David Eby actually, because he actually did speak out about the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and
Oh,
I thought he actually did a really good job of speaking out about it.
hmm,
So when somebody does a good thing, everybody can say I'm hard on David Eby, and then maybe that's true. But
yeah,
I've always said, if David Eby does a great thing, I'm going to call him out on that too, and I'm going to
yeah.
congratulate him on that too. And so I did want to acknowledge that he did call it out, and he did speak well about that. So I wanted
Mhm.
to acknowledge that. I also wanted to acknowledge that there was a bunch of stupidity on Twitter about the assassination as well.
Mm,
You had a woman by the name of Devon Cassidy.
mm. Yeah, I saw her name floating out there.
She's a social worker
Really?
who works
Wow.
for Legal Aid BC.
Oh,
Social worker that works for Legal Aid BC,
oh,
and
that's not a good look.
she posted a TikTok video that was cheering the assassination of Charlie Kirk,
Cheering. Oh my
literally
God.
cheering the death and
Oh,
assassination of Charlie Kirk, and
oh,
that is disgusting.
sure.
And it wasn't just her. There was a lot. There was
Oh,
we have to say there was a lot of videos
oh,
of people that were yay, and that's disgusting. That is
yeah. Beyond.
disgusting.
And
That
and,
is
and she, and she worked
disgusting.
for and she worked for Legal Aid BC.
She
Wow.
worked for Legal Aid BC. Yeah.
Wow. If I was their employer, she would have been fired instantly for
So
cheering like
that's taxpayer funded
that.
organization, and we have to say as well, the very next day,
Oh,
Legal Aid came out with a statement saying, that this Devon Cassidy has now been fired. She's no longer
oh,
an
well,
employee
good.
of.
Rightly so.
So again, that's good.
Yeah, right.
Again,
She's fired.
congratulations. I'm glad to see that. So again, I wanted to just we kind of circle back a little bit. I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to acknowledge that, yeah, David Eby did a good thing by
Hmm.
acknowledging the unfortunate death of Charlie Kirk. Because again, nobody deserves to die for an opinion,
Exactly. And
and
cheerleading.
nobody's death and assassination should be cheered
Oh
on a
no,
TikTok video.
disgusting.
That's just disgusting, really
Yeah,
disgusting.
everybody's life is a value, and it should never be cheerleaded for saying,
Yeah.
"Well, oh well, congratulations, you were assassinated. Yeah, let's bring it on, bring on more." It's like
Yeah,
oh, like disgusting.
super disgusting.
Yeah,
I couldn't, and again, it wasn't, she was one example. So,
yeah,
somebody
I know.
from BC, from BC that posted it,
Uh,
but there was actually a lot of videos that were doing that. And it was just like,
yeah, there
are
was.
you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and so getting back to
Yeah.
Mitchell Tremblay, there was a lot of, a lot of great advocacy within his work, and there still is, and
hmm
actually even a lot. Like, going forward, I value his advocacy in so many
Well,
ways.
especially now that he seems to value his life now.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes a big difference. I think when you actually value your own life, I think
Mhm.
you can actually be a better advocate. you
Oh,
know.
for sure, right?
So
I,
yeah,
working together of advocates working together. We can always. There's a lot of us. We can disagree to agree on certain
hmm
things, and that's one thing I was taught over time, even by one of our former ministers in BC, Shane Simpson. He was the minister of MSDPR, Ministry of Social Development and Poverty
yeah,
Reduction. Um, he even taught me too that that sometimes in life you can agree to disagree on certain policies, certain things, and it teaches the government to do better, and holding them to account. And I
Mhm.
remember him always saying, "Well, Brent, I mean, I've got thick skin." I said, "Yeah, but you're still a person, no, Shane. You're still who you are. You may have
Yeah.
thick skin. You may tell me that, but your personal feelings will get hurt if somebody keeps lunging at you
Yeah.
and cursing you down." I said, yeah, like, I mean, if somebody did that to me too, I could say, yeah, and put on a smile face. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me. Yeah, of course it
Yeah.
does, right?
Yeah, of course.
And the same thing with Shane. I mean, we taught him a lot about
Hmm.
advocacy, about lived experience. I mean, and really it came down to, and he found that
Yeah.
out, and he thanked us in a town hall meeting many times. And I echo that across different ministers who have come across on the political spectrum through
Hmm.
advocacy. Even the Conservative Party in BC sat down with them. I mean, they listened to our advocacy, our points of view. The Green Party, same thing. The NDP.
Yeah.
There is no liberal BC Liberal Party right now. There's some, who knows what's going to happen with them. I mean, there
There
were,
were some whisperings of like a resurrection of the party.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's
Yeah.
some other new parties coming forward.
Yeah.
I'm basically my point would be to them before we continue on the show is, I want you to listen to lived experience. Doesn't matter which political
Hmm.
party it is. Listen to lived experience of individuals, either self advocates, organizations who bring those voices of people with disabilities onto your table, not
Yeah.
just people on your own committee of and
And again,
very
shout out to Dan Davies.
yeah,
We've been trying to get him on. I don't know, but
Dan.
hopefully we can get him on because he was honestly a great advocate.
Oh yes,
You know,
one of my favorite.
he was with the BC Liberal Party, but he
Mhm.
was one of the really good advocates out
Real
there.
good man, real good man.
Yeah, and so we just have to again acknowledge. And I feel like I'm throwing a bunch of bouquets today, but you know,
Ah,
it's true.
okay,
It's true that
one for you, one
Dan
for you.
Dan is another
Yeah,
great advocate, and so we just want to acknowledge that.
yeah. And
Um,
a bouquet to all these self advocates and all the advocacy groups who are
yeah,
really putting a lot of pressure on the
yeah.
provincial and federal governments. I mean, bouquets to all of you and all of our listeners and viewers. Bouquets to all of you today, because why not? Today's Friday.
Yeah. You get a bouquet, and you get a bouquet, and
It's
you
like
get a bouquet.
it's like a pink unicorn, but you can't have
Yeah.
unicorns because they're not
You
real.
know, as a transition to the maid, I
Yeah.
think the next topic we can talk about, and actually, we're going to be talking about this more on another future show. I don't want to reveal the guest quite yet because it's a little
No.
bit of a surprise, but
Yeah.
we will get
Yeah.
into into this again later
Oh, I'm so looking forward to
in a
that.
couple of shows from now.
Oh, I'm
But
looking forward to that. Oh, it's gonna be
yeah, but
oh
anyway, the next topic we wanted to talk about was Charlie Pollock, the 10-year-old girl with
yeah.
Batten's disease. Again, this idea that you have government policy which does not respect life and death, and but what by that we mean that originally the provincial government here was denying. We can't say life saving medication, but
Mhm.
we can say life preserving medication because
Yeah.
the truth of it is that this 10-year-old girl will at some point she will die because she has this disease that's Batten's disease is not curable,
Mhm.
so she will eventually die. But for right now, the medication she's on is preserving or prolonging her life.
Mhm.
And we have to say, I see postings from her mom all the time, and I
Mhm.
mean,
From
really
Jory.
happy girl enjoying life, you know, and so the idea that the government, I mean, now they've reversed their decision, which is great. I'm glad they did, but they literally needed to be embarrassed on the international stage, not just on the BC stage, but literally on the international stage. They had to be embarrassed on the international stage before they reversed the decision, right?
Mhm.
So this idea that you know a disabled girl's life really isn't that important. We don't really need to give her life-saving medication. You know, yeah, and then you know, we would also see a few comments online is like, well, you know, this girl doesn't have a good quality of life anyway, so just let her die.
I
You
know
know,
it's
and I
terrible.
mean that wasn't
Disgusting.
that common. That comment wasn't that common, but it was more than one person was saying it though. There's like maybe a handful of people were saying it. Is
I
like
know.
just let her die, just let her die. Her quality of life must suck anyway. And I mean,
Oh,
we have to walk back from that
yeah,
and say that disabled lives
they
are
do matter.
important. Disabled lives are worth preserving.
Everybody's life matters. I mean,
Yeah.
and Jory, I want to just put a hand up to you. You're welcome. Come on to the show anytime you want. Just as an invitation to you. I want to mention something very special to you, Jory. That on behalf of for your daughter, Sonia and myself, we had a really bad cold in the summer. But you know what we did for your daughter? It really touched me very dearly. We went down actually met with Elena Lawson
Hmm.
and downtown Victoria, jumped on a bus, went down, and I said, we have to do this. Sonia says, we have to go down. I said, oh, absolutely. We went down and fresh sliced pizza. We went down and we got which was, oh, local pizza. I call it fresh slice, but it's local pizza. Took over the actual establishment. Yeah, a brain fart right there. Because it was always fresh slice, right? I mean, so now it's local pizza. But we went down and all the money that was brought into a local pizza went to help Charlie. And I
Hmm.
thought, wow, like it was amazing. And so for me, as a person in the community, as a citizen in the community, I felt that I needed to do that as my contribution to help your daughter, because
Hmm.
back then that was when the government said, well, they weren't going to be funding to help your daughter to maintain her quality of life.
Hmm.
And again, the government should have done the right thing at that time.
They
I'm
really
glad
should
they
have
finally
right away.
did,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
public pressure to make that happen, to push the government to do the right thing. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing as um, all these unions that are on strike right now in BC. There's just one thing after another, a whole domino effect. The
Mm.
BCGEU. I want you to stand on your picket lines. I want you to put pressure on the government. Maybe
Mhm.
anyone from the unions put pressure on the government and saying, "Are you? So you're not respecting us as union members? How about
Mhm.
respecting PWD, persons with disabilities? Put that into part of your
Yeah.
mandate and say,
Yeah.
hey, uh, we're going to settle our agreement only if you actually raise PWD
Yeah.
rates, because I might just form.
And let's go to the third let's go to the third topic now then. I mean, that's actually a good jumping off point.
Yeah,
We've covered we've covered now we covered Maid and we've covered Charlie Pollock. Um, and so now let's talk about uh, the have and have nots,
yeah,
PWD versus PWD or the disabled versus disabled.
yeah,
I mean, there's so much of that. Again, provincial policy where it's like, you know, pitting disabled against disabled and
mm,
well 25% of you deserve subsidized housing, 25% of us deserve subsidized housing. The 75% of you, we don't really care about the 75%. You know, it's like
yeah,
we'll throw you to the wolves. Who cares about the 75%? We only have to worry about 25% of you, you know?
yeah, yeah. And not with that that being said, it's like 75% of PWD and BC pay high market rent. And the government said, well, that's a choice that you make. But you can have subsidized housing, but you need to now be homeless in order to qualify for BC housing. They're old, archaic policies. I was just reading up about it. Sonia had was reading something just yesterday about it. She couldn't.
I used to be in BC housing, but
Oh,
I can reapply for it again.
oh, Sonia was in BC housing once upon a time, a long time ago. But apparently she can reapply. Anybody can reapply,
Yeah.
but but here's the catch, everyone. You gotta apply from scratch. So you're
Yeah.
not
So you have to
prioritizing.
go all the way down to the bottom of the list, which
Yeah,
is 20-year waiting list.
yeah,
20-year
yeah,
waiting list now.
yeah, 20-year waiting list.
Yeah.
And I mean, all people want is to have cheaper housing, but you have to go through BC housing in order to do that.
Well,
Now, yeah, I mean, seniors.
they have these archaic policies. I mean, let's just say this, Brent, is that they have this archaic policies that they created. They
Yep,
created it, the government's created it, but they blame
yep,
us for it. They basically gaslight
yep,
everybody on PWD. They gaslight us and
Yeah.
say, well, our archaic policies are your fault.
Yeah.
Our archaic policies are your fault. It's your fault, Brent and Sonia,
Yeah.
that you
You're paying.
cannot find rent for $500 a month. It's your fault.
Yeah.
It's not our fault. It's your fault that you cannot find rent for $500 a month. It's not our fault. We're providing subsidized housing for 25% of you.
Yeah.
So that's good enough, right, Brent? That's good enough, right? You know?
Well, exactly. I remember. I remember a phone call. Like we had moved. We had moved from Nanaimo out to Langley. That's where the whole ripple effect started. But we had moved, and the rent was actually much higher than what we were paying. Much higher. Okay.
Mm.
And question was right away from the government. Well, you're going to put yourself into harm's way. You're going to
Yeah.
create a crisis for yourself. You're going to want to pay more high market rent.
Again, blaming
Yeah,
you, blaming you for their own bad policy, blaming
exactly.
you for their own bad policy. Yeah.
And so I actually stood my ground. I always remember my mom always telling me, stand up for what you believe in. Don't let somebody belittle you and talk down to you. And you
Yeah.
know what I said, and I'll say it very vocally here. And I got the person actually fired. Just
Hmm.
I found out that the person was dismissed. They were disciplined. They didn't listen. They did it again to somebody else. So
Yeah.
it actually end game was the person who actually lost their job about being disrespectful. They told me on the phone to not be so disrespectful. You know, I told the person, I said,
Hmm.
I will not allow you to talk down to me. I said, I had a mother. I don't need another mother. I don't need someone to talk down to me. It's my decision on autonomy wise. And the word
Yeah.
autonomy back then, I didn't use
Yeah.
the word autonomy. I said, I can make a decision that's best for me, and
Yeah.
Sonia can make a decision that's best for her. We're
Yeah.
actually going to be moving. I said, well, you are. I said, we are going to be moving. So I said, this is what we're going to be doing. Well, I know a place in Nanaimo that you could go rent for $850. I said, oh yeah, I know that area. Yeah, there's somebody
Why
had
doesn't that person rent it out then? If
and,
yeah.
and yeah, you know what I said? I said, yeah, I just heard on the news somebody just got shot and there was a drug deal going on.
Yeah.
Cops were surrounding the home. It's all boarded up. I said,
Yeah.
it's safe for me, and there's no public transit. So yeah, that's a really safe neighborhood for me to go into.
Well, that's the other thing too that we have to say, Brent, too, is that I mean there are some housing in BC housing which is good.
Yep. Oh,
There actually are some housing that's
there's
good
some
and safe and clean,
yeah.
but there's not very much of it, right? Most of it is rat infested
Yeah. Bed bug.
or bed bug infested
Yeah. Cockroach.
or housing that doesn't have
Mold.
fire alarms,
Yeah. Mold.
doesn't have proper cooling.
Oh,
So like people pass away in hot boxes.
Yeah.
People pass away because the fire alarms weren't there.
Yeah.
You know, or not
Well,
fire alarms. Sorry, the smoke detectors. I should say smoke detectors. They didn't have there. You know, there's some buildings that don't have the smoke detectors.
or sprinklers. Don't have sprinklers.
Oh,
either.
sorry, they don't have sprinklers too. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have sprinklers in our building. No.
Crazy, right? It's just
Yeah, it
crazy.
I know
Yeah.
because there was a place in Langley we were in, and we had 10. We had 10 sprinklers, 10 in our
Mhm.
unit. I mean,
In
throughout
your
the
unit,
whole building,
yeah.
throughout
Yeah.
the whole building.
Yeah.
I could not believe it. I was like, first thing I
I
stood
think
like,
I got about 10 in mine, actually.
yeah, and I looked
Yeah.
around. I'm like, what the heck is all this? And I found out they were all
Mhm.
sprinklers throughout the whole building.
Mhm.
And because it was a building code that needed to be updated, and this one here, they haven't updated it. It's scary. The fire department, they have a third party company that comes by and they test the fire alarm.
Mhm.
And the guy was here like 2 minutes in the building. 2 minutes, one ding, and then he
Yeah.
went. I thought, wow, that's it, right? I guess, but getting back to about BC housing, seniors get to have the privilege of having BC housing, but they don't have to be in a BC housing facility. They can stay in their own home.
Yeah,
can
they
apply
get the
for-
subsidy, right? They
Yeah,
get the subsidy.
they apply
Yeah.
for savers, and
Yeah.
it's a seniors program under an umbrella under BC housing. I know because my mom, like I had talked to her on previous shows about it, she got to live in her own home. She didn't have to move. She got to have
Yeah.
it. I didn't get to have it because I'm PWD because I get shelter portion, so I don't qualify for it, right?
Yeah.
I want to see
Yeah.
that word shelter. I just get rid of that word shelter because you get one check, everybody.
Well,
One check.
yeah, and this is where I tease about the word elite. You know that there's
Yeah.
the elite
Yeah.
25%, there's the elite
Yeah.
25% of the PWD
Yeah.
that gets the subsidized housing,
Yeah.
right? So there's 25% of us that are the elite disabled.
Yeah.
They get it where you can say, if we go back to the theme of the show about respecting life and death, so
Mhm.
you get 25% of the PWD
Mhm.
have their lives that are respected more, their lives are respected more with a subsidy, we have to say, right? And it's like, well, the other 75%, well, they can just kick rocks. And it's like,
Yeah,
we as government, we have,
they can eat cake. Yeah.
yeah, they can eat cake and kick rocks.
Yeah.
And we as government, we as provincial government, we don't have to acknowledge or worry about the 75% that are struggling more because they don't have the subsidized
Yeah.
rent,
The way,
right?
yeah, and the way
We don't have to worry about that.
yeah, the way I look at it is you give people the resources, you give them the tools, you give them the income where now they're not paying it all to their corporate landlord. They're now
Mhm.
able to have subsidized rent where they live for PWD. Like seniors get it too. We have seniors in my building too. I mean, government. There's
Yeah,
seniors in my building. They get safers, right? And
yeah,
the question that I get into conversations with as an advocate, and they say, well, why don't you get it as a PWD? I go, that is a good question. I advocate all the time. They're like,
yeah.
it's not
We
hard.
should get it. We should
They
get
said
it.
it should be easily changed. And so what I want to see that all PWD get the same as what seniors get. The
Hmm.
same treatment right across the board. Get rid
Yeah,
of that word shelter. And I know
yeah,
that Shane Simpson, when he was the minister, he wanted to get rid of the shelter portion.
yeah.
And well, the bus pass, yeah, that's another thing. But the $45 a year bus pass, Sonia said, yeah,
Yeah.
another thing.
That's another
That
podcast. Yeah.
yeah, that's another podcast in
Yeah.
itself. But the fact is that it's called equality. It's called respecting the
Hmm.
person for who they are. Let that person decide what housing they want, but give them the 30% of their income. So rent geared to income. And
Yeah.
this is not new, folks. I mean, this is actually from the CMHC. CMHC even says
Hmm.
nobody should be paying more than 30% of their income on rent. Now, the
Right.
problem is that the government's policies are allowing PWD in each province or have that designation in each province, or maybe equivalent. Some provinces don't have PWD designation. I don't know
Hmm.
why they don't, but they should. So I'm going to be advocating. We'll be pushing more on the show on that one, on another podcast. But the one is that provinces that do have PWD designation, every PWD should have no more than 30% of their income paid to rent, market rent. So rent geared to income, and have it if it's under BC housing umbrella, it's under their umbrella. But it needs to be based on the individual. Okay, again,
Yes. 100%.
individual, not
Yeah.
household, right? Because
Yeah.
we know about the CDB. The CDB, the
Yeah.
federal government fucked up the CDB. I mean,
Yeah.
they
They did.
royally. I
Yeah.
mean, a 1-year-old could have done a better job of designing that CDB.
Honestly, yeah, you're right.
Honestly, I mean,
Kindergarten
yeah,
class could have done a
yeah.
better job.
1 plus 1 is how much? I got one potato. I got one potato. What is that? Two. Very good, Mr. Good. Very good, Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I have
Um,
one there,
let's
but
let's quickly go through the next couple.
and I'm not Mr.
Um,
Potato Head, everyone. Just
we
so you know.
have one of the topics I wanted to get to is safe supply. This
Safe
idea
supply.
of safe supply as compassionate care.
Now
I
safe,
hate
safe.
that
Yeah, I know.
where you have harm reduction of safe supply is considered compassionate care. I mean, that's BS. When you're giving drugs and you're saying that's compassionate care, you're not respecting life. You're saying we're going to keep that person addicted so their life is going to be continually terrible. We're going to keep them addicted, keep them in a terrible state, not really help them because it's not about getting them the help. It's about just keeping them addicted by giving them
Status
the safe
quo.
supply, right?
Yeah, status quo.
Status quo, and so again, that is not respecting life. And I mean, I can just leave it at that, and we can
Yeah,
go
yeah,
into the
yeah,
next one almost. I
yeah,
don't really have to say any
yeah.
more than that.
But I think
Um,
people can kind of read into that situation where rather than giving them the tools, helping them. I mean, there are people that can definitely be helped, and I mean, for me, I think, like, again, the value of life for anybody. And I know that there's, unfortunately, there are some people that can't be helped. Brain injury. They've and there's nothing against anybody who has brain injury. I just want to make sure
Hmm.
everybody understands this, is that um, they can be helped to be rehabilitated back into society. There are people who may have brain injury. They still need to be helped. They still need
Hmm.
to be helped. Maybe
Yeah.
in a different ways. I don't have the tools. I don't know what the best solution would be. But to leave them on a street, I mean, come
Don't keep
on.
people, yeah, don't keep people in a
Yeah,
broken
in a broken
state,
system,
in a
that you
broken system, in a
personally,
broken state.
yeah, that you've
Yeah.
designed. I mean, and yes, it was proven that it was designed that way.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that government decided that it's okay to keep people in legislative poverty. It's
Yeah.
okay to let them stay on the street. I mean,
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's not okay in society. I mean, we got immigration at very high levels that I've never in life seen it come to this level.
Hmm.
I mean, is that how we show immigration when they come to our country? Welcome to Canada, but you get to live in a tent. You get to live on
Yeah.
the street because we don't have enough housing for you.
Yeah.
Because federal government said, "Oh, we don't need to build housing."
Yeah.
Or hell, yeah. There's an article I was just reading the other day. There's a lot of condominiums that are built right now. They're sitting empty, and you know why
Hmm.
they're sitting empty? Everybody, they're built so tiny, and they weren't meant for. They actually were not meant for renting. They were meant for investment.
Yeah.
Now the
Yeah.
government's going, uh-oh, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Now what do we do
Yeah.
with all these skyscrapers? Gee,
Yeah.
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 I mean, but
Well,
hey,
let's go to the last. I know we're kind of quickly going through the
yeah,
last
that's
couple,
okay.
but let's hit the last topic here, and it's my favorite. And I saved my favorite for last.
Oh, of course.
The PWD clawbacks.
Oh,
Um, you
hey,
know,
the
and
pink unicorn
again,
that's behind me, it's
yeah,
their
and
fault.
again, I don't have to spend too much time on this because
No.
I talk about it a lot, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I did want to say it goes back again to our theme of, you know, that government policy needs to respect life and it needs to respect death. If you don't respect death, you're not respecting life, and if you don't respect life, you're not respecting death. You know what I mean? They're connected, right?
Yeah.
So this idea that if you're on PWD, like I am, you know, and I had my first wife pass away, this
Yeah.
idea that you know, my wife worked hard. She was a school teacher for 17 years for the Langley School District. She worked hard. She paid into her pension for 17 years. Her employer paid into her pension for 17 years as a worker benefit.
Mhm.
The only way you can qualify for a pension is as a working benefit.
Mhm.
So it is an earned working benefit. We have to say it's an
Absolutely.
earned working benefit.
Oh, yeah.
And the idea that the government can the provincial government here in BC just turns around and says, well, you know, that earned working benefit, we're just going to pink unicorn it.
Mhm.
You know, it's not respecting debt. I mean, again, let's go back to the beginning of Sonia's like
Yeah.
any death. I don't care who it is. Death is significant. Death is important. Death is a huge hole. Death is a huge thing to get over. It's a financial burden too. I
Yeah.
mean, when my wife passed away, she left a huge financial hole because all of a sudden we had one less income coming in.
Yeah.
She's gone, and that's, you know, that's terrible enough, but also her income is gone too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's the whole point of what a pension is.
Mhm.
Let's talk about what a pension is, Brent. You know, we talk about GIS, right? We talk
Mhm.
about GIS. What's a GIS, Brent? Tell everybody what a GIS is.
GIS is a guaranteed income supplement, and that's for seniors. Seniors also get the OAS, which is it's a supplement. Ontario, was it OAS? Yes, it's a. I think it's Ontario supplement. It's anyways the seniors supplements that they get. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, people probably think, well, no, he doesn't know the terminology on that one. No, I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, but okay, I'm going to stop you there though.
yeah,
What's the key word? What's the key word in the GIS? What is the key word? The key word
guaranteed,
is
guaranteed,
guaranteed, right?
guaranteed.
What does guarantee mean, Brent? What does guarantee mean?
It means absolutely you are going to get. You are going to get. It's 100%. Yeah, it's yours. It's yours. Yours to keep.
Is it, I feel like we're in court right now, and
Yeah,
I want to invite David Eby because
yeah.
David Eby's a lawyer. David Eby's a lawyer, so I want to invite David Eby
Mm.
in our court right now. I want to
Yeah.
invite him in our court right now, and we're going to talk about this whole idea of guarantee.
Mm.
We just talked about GIS is a guarantee, right? And
Oh yes.
if it's a guarantee, it's what? It's protected.
Yeah,
It's
it's like PWD in BC. We had a guaranteed disability income. It was a pension. It was
It was a
guaranteed.
pension.
It was a
Yeah,
pension.
if it's a
It was
pension, it's
guaranteed.
guaranteed, right? That's what I was getting to. If you have
Yeah,
a pension, if you have
yeah.
pension monies, it's
It was.
guaranteed. It's a GIS. It's
Yeah,
guaranteed income.
yeah.
And for
Oh, that's how
and for the
PWD's income supposed to be. It's supposed to
and
be
for the
very
la
guaranteed.
and for the last 30 years,
Yeah.
for the last 30 years, and we can all thank who can we thank, Brent? Who can we thank?
Yeah,
Mike
Mike
Harcourt.
Harcourt. Mike
Mike
Harcourt.
Harcourt.
You turned a pension into a pink unicorn. You made
Yeah.
it so that a pension was there and it was supposed to be guaranteed. You turned it around and you made it a pink unicorn. And why do I know that? My family physician and other
Yeah.
physicians who had to, I had to go through a lengthy process, which most PWD do, to be designated. My disability didn't go away. I get more disabilities as I get older, as we all do. Um, but you know what? I remember my family doctor even said, Brent, disabilities don't go away. And he thought that the pension was there. So I'm now approving you for disability pension.
Yeah.
And he thought it was a pension.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well,
Surprise.
it
Found
was a
out.
pension. It was a
Yeah,
pension prior to 1993, 94.
yeah, yeah.
And Mike Harcourt is the one that perverted everything and turned
Yeah.
everything into a pink
Be-
unicorn.
Because he doesn't like disabled
He didn't
people.
like disabled people.
And status quo goes forward. So when status quo goes forward, it tells me that whoever's in power tells the ministers mandate letters of we want you to accomplish this. All these
And and you know what happened? You know what happened, Brent? We always talk about this.
Yeah,
Is as soon as Mike Harcourt did that thing,
yeah,
everybody else just copy and pasted.
yeah, they did. Yeah,
It's
they did.
like, oh wow, Mike Harcourt, we love this idea. Let's copy and paste this bad idea
Yeah,
of turning a pension. What is a pension again, Brett? It's a
yeah.
guaranteed
Income
income
supplement.
support supplement.
Yeah,
A guaranteed. It's a guarantee.
yeah.
A pension is a guarantee.
And that's what
And,
Ontario did, though. Ontario did the same thing. They had
yeah.
Mike Harris at the same time as as Harcourt did in BC. Mike Harcourt.
And
Sure.
let's remind people that don't know as well. Mike Harcourt was another lawyer. Mike
Mm.
Harcourt was another lawyer,
Yeah, so
and
he knew how to gauge the system.
yeah, and you know what? I've said this before, and I mean it when I say it. I mean it when I say it. I said before, when I was a kid, when I was like 12 years old, I loved Perry Mason as a kid.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah, too.
the show Perry. Like, I mean, it's all about idealism, or the good guy always wins. You know, the good
Mhm.
lawyer always wins. But I love that because it was all about righteousness. The truth matters, righteousness matters, justice matters, and the good guy lawyer always wins, right?
Mhm.
So I grew up with that idea of like, wow, lawyers are amazing. They fight for truth, they fight for righteousness, they fight for justice. That's great. I'm not even joking, Brent.
Mhm.
Like Perry Mason to me with a kid as a kid when I was 12. I mean, I was like, this is amazing. This is
Oh yeah.
amazing. If this is what a lawyer is,
Oh,
that
how
he
about
fights.
Judge Judy? How about Judge Judy?
Oh yeah, well that too.
Yeah, yeah,
But I remember as a kid watching Perry Mason and go, if
yeah,
this is what a lawyer is, fighting for truth, fighting for justice, fighting for righteousness. Wow, I said, wow, I want that, right?
yeah.
But here you have a lawyer in Mike Harcourt. that basically said, you know what? I don't care about the truth of a pension. I don't care that a pension is supposed to be a guaranteed income supplement. I don't care. I don't care that a pension is guaranteed.
Yep.
I don't care. I don't
And,
care about truth, Brent. I don't care about truth, Neil. I'm gonna pervert it. I'm gonna turn it into a pink unicorn.
yeah, and then he comes on, and then he comes on the news hour, and he spurts out that famous
Yeah,
line that just sits and resonates.
yeah.
My mom was so mad that
Everybody
she
on
turned
welfare is a
my
cheat
mom actually.
varmint. Everybody on welfare is a cheat varmint and deadbeat. Those are the words that came out of his mouth.
Yeah, and my
You
mom, my
know?
mom says, "Turn this filth off." I said, "What
Yeah.
did you just say?" She goes, "Oh, you don't need to hear that, Brent. That this is terrible." She literally turned it off. She says, "Oh, she actually got a shoe. She got her shoe and she threw it at the TV screen. She was so pissed off." And
Yeah.
yeah, my mom was pissed off. I didn't even know what she was talking about, but I heard your words. I heard your
Yeah.
words back then, and I'm like,
Well,
"What is?"
once you say something like I
Oh,
said before, like out of the
I
mouth
was
the heart
shocked
speak.
though. She got her shoe and she threw it at the TV screen. Mom, what are you doing? She
Yeah.
said, that filth. She said, I can't believe it came out of that man's mouth. She
Yeah.
said, where's that bar of soap? She said, Brent, if you ever say anything like that, I will put make you eat a bar of soap.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'll be
again, out of the mouth, the heart speaks, right?
yeah.
So I mean, he obviously meant it.
No,
What
he
he
did.
said, he
He
obviously
did.
meant it, right? He
Yeah.
can't say, well, he can't say no, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it, Neil. I didn't mean it,
Yeah.
Brent. Yes, you did mean it because
Yeah.
if you didn't mean it, you wouldn't have said it. You wouldn't have
Exactly.
said it, right? Like
Oh,
that's the
totally.
truth. That's the truth, right?
And
And so
the
and,
policies though with like Ontario Premier at the same time, the policies that the politicians came out with then were so hurtful, and it still has not been fixed going forward. I mean,
well, because everybody just copy and paste. It's
oh
like
yeah, copy
this
and
is a
paste,
great idea, the pink unicorn
the
pensions. It's a
status
great
quo.
idea. Let's copy
Yeah,
paste it.
we don't have to do anything. We'll just copy paste. We'll throw a couple breadcrumbs here and there every couple of
Yeah.
years. And oh, look what we're doing. And Ontario did the same thing. OW. Joseph had talked about this before, but I can't believe it. 8 years, 8 years in
Yeah.
Ontario, nothing for OW, ODSP. Yeah, they've tied it to the cost of living adjustment every year. Now it's
Yeah.
going up. No rate increase though. Shame, Doug Ford. Come on,
Yeah.
man. The cost of living, people's lives are. They are worth a lot more than just tying it to inflation. Give your head a shake, man. Seriously, on a personal level, not on a political, just on a personal level, do unto others as you want done unto you. Yeah, you may be running the
Yes.
province, okay, but these are human beings. We're all human beings. Do we have, not have value?
Yeah.
People need to have the basic standards, and this goes with every freaking premier in
Yeah.
Canada. We have values, standard, basic
Yeah.
needs. You need to basically have that standard and build from that point on. You have
Yeah.
a disability, you have other expenses that are above that. And
Exactly.
we should not be below a certain standard. Is that how we take care of our own citizens? Of saying, well, you're on disability, you're on OW, you're on BC welfare or income assistance, however the terminology governments
Yeah.
want to call it, pink unicorn language, I call it. Show people with dignity and respect, and give them the autonomy to make decisions that are based on their own needs. Stop paying, politicians, stop playing the blame game of saying, well, when you were in government, you did this.
Yeah.
Well, you're in government, what have you done? You know what I mean? Work
Well,
together,
yeah.
listen to people's lived experience, let them be on the table and make decisions based on what
Yeah.
our needs are.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you something in BC, I heard through the grapevine, and BC, you better not be doing this. BC government, do not do this. NDP, okay? Your standing committee who basically have voices at the table
Hmm.
have now, everything on the walls have ears. I wish I could
Hmm.
be a fly on the wall, but I
Yeah.
heard something for 2026 budget that there's going to be no
No
increase to
increase.
PWD
Yeah.
benefits or
Yeah.
income assistance.
Yeah.
Now that better not be true. Okay.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong that, yeah, sorry, that was misinformation that was put out there by one of your staffers who said, oh, no, 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 no. No, we are going to increase the rates because you haven't increased the rates in 4 years since
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
Okay, that's for support. And for shelter, it hasn't been increased in 2 years. I got a rate increase for my corporate landlord in 2 years. Okay, I asked the premier about this. Oh, it's 11:10. Oh, we got
Oh, we're so
it.
close, friend.
Oh,
We're
oh,
so
now
close.
no, I'm gonna watch this while I'm
Yeah.
actually
Well, you
talking.
know what, Brent? You gave your it this sounded like a closing comment for you.
Yeah,
So I'm going to give my closing comment, and it's going to turn 11:11
raise.
right when I give my closing comment. But my closing comment is going back to the uh, the PWD clawback, and again, I'm going to invite David Eby into our courtroom. Again, because we all know again that David Eby was a lawyer in his past life. So let's invite. There it is, 11:11.
11:11. Hi,
So
yay.
let's invite David Eby into our little courtroom here,
Yeah.
and and you know one of the reasons why I have a hard time respecting David Eby, I'll just say it.
Yeah.
The reason why I give him a hard time is because he's a lawyer. Is
Hmm.
exactly because he is a lawyer, and exactly because when I was 12 years old, I grew up idolizing
Hmm.
show like Perry Mason going, wow, lawyers are great.
Yeah.
Isn't this great if lawyers can be like this, that are fighting for truth, that are fighting for justice, that are fighting for righteousness?
Yeah.
And the thing getting back to Eby, David Eby before he was premier, he was what? He was the attorney general for
Yeah.
5 years, right? He was
Yeah. He
the,
was.
the attorney general for 5 years. So
He was
while
a
he
house
was attorney,
minister too.
yeah, he was that too. But I just wanted to say that while he was attorney general for 5 years, guess who was writing him emails about clawbacks, Brent? Guess who
Mm.
was writing him emails about clawbacks? Me.
You.
Guess how many emails I sent directly to David Eby's office?
Many.
I sent 36, probably 3 dozen emails directly to directly to David Eby as the Attorney General,
How
and
many?
and
How
you
many
know you know
responses did you get back?
and I got zero back, Brent. After
Oh my
36
God.
emails, 36
Oh.
emails, it was crickets. Zero response back.
Oh,
After 36
David.
emails,
Oh my God.
zero. And
Oh,
and
that's
and,
disrespectful.
and you know
Oh.
again what my one question was? You know what my one question was? I said David Eby as Attorney
Oh.
General. I said as because you're Attorney General and you're a lawyer who is supposed to acknowledge the truth. That's your job as Attorney General and as a lawyer. You're supposed to acknowledge the truth. I said that in
Yeah.
I posed a question to him. I said, as a lawyer, you're supposed to acknowledge the truth, and as
Hmm.
Attorney General, you're supposed to acknowledge the truth. So I said, David Eby, as Attorney General, can you please acknowledge the truth of what a pension
Hmm.
is? Can you
Yeah.
please acknowledge the truth of what a pension is?
Yeah.
As,
Straightforward. Yeah.
as a guaranteed income supplement, because
For sure.
we all know that's what a pension is. It's a
Yeah. It's
guaranteed
supposed to be.
income supplement. So I said, can you please acknowledge a pension as a guaranteed income supplement? I didn't hear one peep from him. Nothing. Not
Oh.
one response back. So
I'm
that
so
is what.
I'm so sorry, Neil, that David didn't respond back to
So that
36.
is the source. That is my source of my
Yeah. No wonder.
dislike and my frustration
Yeah.
about David Eby and about people, like Mike Harcourt.
Hmm.
Like I said, I love lawyers because I grew up
Yeah.
idolizing and loving Perry Mason as a kid because I thought, well, all lawyers are going to respect truth. They're all going to respect righteousness. They're all going to respect justice. But I mean,
Hmm.
how is clawing back a
Yeah.
pension from a widow and widower? How is that justice, Brent? How is that righteousness when you're clawing back
Hmm.
crucial
It makes
income
no
from
sense.
it makes zero sense, right?
It
That
makes total zero
you're gonna
sense.
punish death. You're gonna punish death and
Hmm.
say if a spouse dies, you're gonna punish that person and say, well, that's too bad. You
Hmm.
deserve punishment now. That's too bad because you know what? As a government, we don't respect life. We don't respect death. We don't respect life and we don't respect death. So that goes right back to the beginning of the show where
Yeah.
governments do not respect life. They do not respect death.
Exactly. And that reminds me of a clawback of anyone, and this is kind of for anyone to really look at if you're a senior. Being a lived experience, yeah, and with living with my mom way back when, God rest her soul. But the government put her through, and I'll pardon my language. I don't normally swear on the show here, but you put my mom through fucking hell, government,
Mhm.
way back when my mom was a member for the Otter Co-op. My mom did shopping. And you know what the reward that she got? She got a dividend reward for being a member. And so when people get a reward, guess what they do? They put that money back in to the store, right? You can only use a check. You get a dividend check if you spend X amount of dollars throughout the year. My mom had a hobby farm. So I mean, she had ducks and chickens and bunny rabbits. She had birds. She had not a parrot. She had cockatiel. She had cats and dogs. She had 12 cats. At one time, she had 14 cats. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, yeah, it was too many. Of course, my allergies were just flaring up. I mean, you can imagine. But I mean, she loved. But you know what? They were her family. She had 2 dogs. It was her family, so she got a lot of pets food from the Otter Co-op too. But my mom worked hard. My mom worked hard. She wasn't on income assistance. She wasn't on disability assistance. My mom was out there working. She worked her butt to the ground until she couldn't do anymore. She got other disabilities that weren't diagnosed. The doctor, I mean, did come across different things. My mom didn't go on a disability because she was now getting close to old age. Guaranteed income supplement for what seniors get. If she had got those disabilities earlier, she would have been on disability assistance, and she would have then with how I was on disability at the time, and so she got to have her senior supplement from home. But what the government did was they clawed off that check. Basically a check from the community store that she had to, it's not like where she could use it any other store. She had to use it back into that store. So it's her putting that money back in. She got the money from her guaranteed income supplement. The government said, "Oh, that's unearned income." They classified it as. She said, "No, I earned it. I used that money from my pension that you gave me, and I shopped. I got it. And so now I'm going to put that money back in." They said, "No, it's unearned, and we have to take that off." And they took off.
Stupid.
They took off more, and get this, they took off more than what her whole check was in a month.
Well,
They put her in a bad
well, you know, like again, when my first wife passed away, you know what my whole check,
I'll never forgive
you
the
know what my
government.
whole provincial check for about 2 years, it was almost exactly 2 years. My check for provincial assistance went down to, guess how much, Brent? It went down to 400, but less than $400 a month. It went
Wow.
down, and this is with my son.
Yeah.
With my son, I have a son. So here's a single dad now with a son, and my provincial assistance went down to $400 a month.
Oh my
Four hundred
gosh.
dollars a month.
Terrible, Neil.
A disabled widower at that, with a son, and my provincial assistance went down to less than $400 a month. And
Yeah.
the provincial government says that's great. That's great.
Oh.
$400 is a lot, Neil. $400 is a lot. $400 is a lot, Neil.
Yeah, but you know what?
You
The
had your
government,
wife die, and you got all this money now from her. Like you should be thankful that she died because she left you all this money. Like
yeah.
it's just like so perverse, so
But
perverse.
you know what you happened to me on that situation too, why I so livid is, so my mom had all that money taken off, so she can't recoup that money. So now she says, "Well, Brent, maybe can you get more hours where you're working?" Well, I wasn't even on disability at the time. I wasn't even diagnosed. I had disabilities, but I refused to go in and to the government to get diagnosed, to go to my doctor, to be on provincial disability. I had a lot of issues, problems with my disabilities that were interfering with a lot of aspects of work that I was doing. I was just trying to mentally just tune out and say, no, just ignore it. And I'm thinking, well, if they fire you, Brent, they fire you. And it got to a point where, like there was some dicey moments where one of my jobs I was at, they did get rid of me because I was not able to actually do the job. I actually almost not purposely got myself fired, but I said, well, I mean, I'm just me. My disabilities, I can't just magically make them disappear. And you know what I was told, Neil, and everybody? Well, maybe you can go and get an operation to try to correct the problem. maybe go and see a better doctor that can actually go and fix your disabilities. And you know
Yeah.
what I did? I actually walked off the job. I actually
Yeah.
said to the employer, I said, F you. I said, I'm
Mhm.
out of here. If you can't respect me for who I am, just for
Yeah.
who I am,
Yeah.
then I said, you're not respecting you as an employer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my mom taught me that be do unto others as you want done unto you. And I actually said that. I was brave enough. And they told me, they said, leave now. Get
Yeah.
out the door, go out the door. And so I didn't even collect my check. I said, keep
Yeah.
it. Keep it. I said,
Yeah.
keep my check. I don't want it. I don't want your money.
Yeah.
And so my point was is that I worked hard because my mom's money got clawed off. So I made work harder. And guess what? My mom got punished even more.
Yeah.
And I got punished more
Yeah.
because my mom's household income went higher.
Hmm.
And it got to a point where one of us had to move out because the
Yeah.
policy under BC Housing stated that your income can't be higher for your mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh. So my brother and I looked at each other like, what the hell? They're like policy. So either he moves or I move. And the government said, we're serious. Like, that's a policy. I said, well,
Yeah.
then change the goddamn policy. I said, I don't
Yeah.
know how the system
Yeah.
works.
And that's clawbacks in general, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, if we go back to the theme of the show, it was how government policy
Yeah.
basically the government policy does not respect life and death. So
Life and death. And that really,
let's end on
yeah,
that, this
yeah,
idea that government policy does not respect life and death, but it should.
yeah. But
If government policy is working properly, if government policy is working properly, they definitely need to respect life and death.
they
They need
definitely
to
do.
respect life and death. But they don't all the time. Like we just gave a bunch of examples on today's
Yeah.
show of how they don't respect it. But I'm telling government directly, like, let's start respecting life and death in the policies that you create, government. It's
Yes.
so
And
important, so important.
it's not hard to not do. Like you have to have the can do attitude of changing your policies, modernize them.
Yeah.
Let's modernize it. And I'm gonna leave off on a funny note here. The supercomputer that was promised by the BC government to Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction in 2023, early
Hi,
of
Sheila.
2023. Hi, Sheila. Where is the computer? Early 2023, you told Jeff, Sonia, and myself they were coming with a supercomputer
We love you,
next
Sheila.
year.
We love you,
It's
Sheila.
2024. Come
Yeah,
on, Sheila.
we're
Hey,
just teasing you,
I-
Sheila. But
it's
yeah,
probably
where's the
on the
computer?
computer
Where's the
shop.
computer?
Probably in the
Yeah,
computer shop getting worked on already because it needs defragged.
yeah,
How many bits are in a byte, everyone? How many
yeah.
bits are in a byte?
And again, to end off,
Yeah.
I think Sheila Malcolmson herself knows, as Minister of Social Development, I think she knows that a pension is a guaranteed income supplement. So,
Yeah.
and she knows what the word guarantee means, right? She knows what the word guarantee means. And if she knows what the word guarantee means, and if David Eby as a lawyer knows what the word guarantee means,
Guaranteed.
if he's gonna fight that in court and say, and somebody asks him, what is a guaranteed income supplement, David Eby?
Mhm.
He's gonna be forced to say that a guaranteed income supplement is what? Guaranteed,
It's
right?
guaranteed
If
a
if it's
pension
if it's
or
a guaranteed
guaranteed it's
pension, it
going to
means it
happen.
has to be paid. It has to be respected. It has to be paid out. It
Yeah.
can't be turned into a pink unicorn.
Like the one behind me,
It can't be turned into a pink
can't get a bunch of
unicorn.
those. I mean, and because they're
Yeah,
not real. But I mean, when I say guaranteed, it's a guaranteed that we have the show today. Guaranteed that there's going to be a show on Monday. Guaranteed that
yeah,
PWD Allies podcast will bring on lived experience stories so everybody can tune in. So I want
yeah.
to thank everybody for tuning in today. I really hope you enjoyed today's show. We dogpiled into a lot of examples of
And
policy.
we went about an hour and a half, Brent.
Yeah,
Not bad.
we
Not bad.
didn't get to the 2 hour mark. Told you so.
Uh,
You're gonna get 2 hours. You're gonna make it to 2 hours.
no,
Well, we
we
almost.
won't do that. We won't do that.
No, we did good. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in. As usual, I mean, please like, subscribe, share the content. If you want to buy us a coffee, hit the
Yeah,
like button down
yeah,
there on the comment
yeah,
section. There's different levels of subscriptions. If you really enjoy the content, it really helps us a lot. It
it
helps us
does.
grow the channel. Um, there's different ways that you can help out. I mean, if you see the email addresses, if you don't want to say contribute to the channel that way, if you want to send email, you want to send e-transfer, you want to do PayPal, you can just send an email, social media, like however you want to do it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to, if and I know things are tough these days. I really understand that the economy's not getting better. The cost of living is going high for everybody. So many people struggling and object to government imposed poverty in across Canada. We can turn things around. We can easily, as society, and how do we do that? It's called respect. Respect the people, the citizens of Canada. Tax the
Respect
billionaires.
life and death. Respect life and death.
Respect life and death. I mean, tax the billionaires. Do what you got to do. The money's all there. You got, before we end the show, we got the EI, the GST, child tax credits, OAS, GIS. I mean, all these services are there to do a basic income or a UBI or whatever you want to call it. There's different ways of wording it. It's a guaranteed income supplement that seniors get. Let's make it all.
What does guaranteed mean, Ben? What does guaranteed mean?
It's gonna be there. It's supposed to be guaranteed to be there. So I mean, we can do it as governments. They can do it. And who, Neil, everybody, who is government? We are.
That's
we are.
true.
We are the government. We elect them to represent our needs. And if they're not representing our needs, well, there's a problem. So we can change the policies. We have to get the ones that are elected to change the policies. The leaders that the mandate letters they give to their ministers or MPPs or MPs. Okay, in those mandate letters, get rid of poverty.
One of the things I would add in the mandate letter is that pensions are guaranteed.
Pensions are guaranteed. Nobody should be living under the federal level of the poverty, right? And one of our guests that we're going to be having coming up soon, which we'll reach out to, will be Jeff Leggett. He's from the Disability Action of Canada. So stay tuned on a upcoming podcast. We'll do a refresher and have Jeff come on. Always lovely having Jeff coming on and giving his perspective of where does he see things at across our beautiful country. How do we take care of our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers? When you lose a loved one, it really has a ripple effect.
It's big. It's big.
It is big. It is big, and we're coping. We're getting through things slowly but surely. I know Neil wasn't sure if today's podcast, if I was going to be ready to do the podcast. I said, you know what, I'm ready because I know that Sonia's grandma would want us to continue on advocating and putting pressure on our politicians.
And like I said, we came up with this idea because of Sonia's grandma.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the whole reason why we did the show today was because
I know that she said to me in one conversation when I was visiting at her house, she says, "You kill and kick their butts." She says, "Their butts." She said.
But actually, I did also want to say we should say that we were going to have Mary Jean on, right, to talk about the shelter rate, and she had to postpone because of the death of Sonia's grandma. So the next available time that she could come on, that MJ could come on, is this coming Friday. So
a week from today.
A week from today. So we rescheduled her for Friday because that was the next available time that she could come on. So she's going to come on
Friday,
a week from today. She's going to come on and talk about the shelter rate.
Yeah, Friday, September 19th. And if you haven't signed MJ's petition, there's a petition going out there right now. Please sign it. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you're on Facebook or any other social media platform like X or Twitter, definitely look for that petition. It's out there. Definitely, there's a video out there too that explains what's going on there. Look up City News TV. She was on there. Given her lived experience of what she wants to see happen from our provincial government. There's also an individual that was actually on that interview too, who I would love to get onto the podcast, by the way. James, yes. James Schultz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that would be lovely, great advocate. And then, he wants to hold the BC government to their feet to the fire. I mean,
Hmm.
nobody should be living in poverty. Like, you can't rent
No.
anywhere for a whole PWD check. And a whole PWD check in BC is 1483.50.
Rent is not $500.
Yeah,
Rent is
yeah.
not $500.
I can tell you that one of the corporate landlords that lives close by, and I didn't even know. I thought they were actually condominiums. Our next door neighbor. I
Mm,
thought they were condominiums for since I've been living here. I never asked. I
mm.
ran into our next door neighbor, and he was standing in our front lawn a couple of days ago, Neil, and everyone. And can I help you? And he's just standing there, and he with his phone, and he's like zooming in, and what are you zooming in on? I said, can I help you? I thought maybe he was looking for a rental or something.
Mm.
No, I'm your next door neighbor. Oh, okay. And he says, no, I'm actually the manager next door. Oh, those are the condos. He goes, no, they're rentals. They're rentals. Oh, wow. Yeah, we actually keep up with our building better than your management company does.
Mm.
Okay. I said, well, I'm not going to go there and rock the boat, but I said, it is what it is. I just pay my rent, and I'm grateful that I got a roof over my head.
Mm.
Um, Ideally, I would love to have something more modernized, but unfortunately, the government refuses to raise our rents. I told the manager that the government refuses to raise our PWD income up to what the market level is.
Mm.
According to what they should be, and that's kind of a takeoff to what our one of our guests that Mary is going to be talking about. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to take the
Yeah.
wind out of
That's
her
next
sail.
Friday.
Yeah,
Next
so that
Friday.
she'll continue on where I left
Yeah.
off on that one, but the gentleman's jaw dropped. He could not believe what the check was. He says, so I thought your shelter, they call it shelter, right? I
Hmm.
go, yeah. So what it's not, because right now I can tell you in my building right now, it's like $2,025 for one bedroom. Oh my God. He goes,
Hmm.
so what did they give you? I go, well, the whole check is 1483.50. If you opt out of the bus pass, you can get another $52. Okay, so but you got no transportation. Yeah, well, the government says suck it up, or basically use the money to go and buy food, or put it to
Yeah.
toward your rent.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah. So he says so basically you're given that choice. I go, yeah. He goes, you should know. No, where's that $45 a year bus pass? I go, well, the fact is they give a choice, either take the money or take the transportation. No, never.
Someone with a disability took it away.
Yeah, he said, yeah, it needs to be reinstated. I said, but anyway, I said, that's another podcast in
Yeah.
itself. But that was coming from a corporate landlord, okay, government. Like, really? Like, again, the narrative that was thrown out there was we restored bus passes. No, you did not. Okay,
Hmm.
so, but anyway, the belief from a corporate landlord thinks that LPWD are getting $2,500 for their shelter.
Yeah.
I don't know why that people are thinking that, because that if that was the case, you would have less homeless people
Hmm.
on the streets. People would
Hmm.
have better housing. They'd have better health care for themselves. They could take
Hmm.
care of themselves, put less
Yeah.
strain on the healthcare system.
Yeah.
I know we can do better as a society. We can do it. So governments, please, I want whoever's telling you not to raise rates, hey, you need to maybe get rid of them.
Yeah.
Probably like yesterday. Like, get rid of the
Hmm.
ones that are telling you not to do it, right? In your mandate letters going forward, you need to now find ways of incrementally putting the rates up to a standard. Okay, and that needs to be at a standard, no less, no more below 50% or 60 or 70% below poverty level nationally. Needs to be, everybody needs to lift everybody up. Everybody needs to be lifted up. We're in a wealthy country. We can do it. We can take care of ourselves. If we can take care of our billionaires,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sure we can take care of our citizens. Billionaires are doing okay for themselves. Yeah.
I
Wow.
feel
Every
like I need to
prosper.
do another song, Brent. Is that okay?
Sing me a song, Neil.
The Beatles classic,
Yeah.
"Live and
Uh,
Let Die."
Yeah.
Dun, dun, live and let die. Live
Uh,
and let die.
let's get
Right?
Tom. You get Tom on there and play us a guitar song.
That's what the governments are singing. Live and let die.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, before we sign off, I want to make a little note for everybody on our YouTube channel. uh, as you know, there's some of our shows that we have out there that have some music in there. Um, we knock on wood that YouTube doesn't flag our music. The
Yeah.
problem is that, I mean, you can maybe let our basically our audience know, Neil, how that works. That sometimes YouTube will be picky. They'll some
Yeah.
songs are gonna they'll just let it go, and there's other
Yeah,
times they'll play.
I've been not doing as much songs anymore on the YouTube because YouTube flags it, and if they flag it, it means that I don't get monetized or you don't get monetized, so we both
Yeah,
don't get monetized
so it
uh,
slows down the process
for
of that video.
for the videos. Yeah,
Yeah. And then, I mean, some of our other videos take off really well, but the other ones that we want to say have
yeah,
monetized, they won't monetize it. But there's
yeah,
other times that they will monetize it. They're
yeah.
picky and choosy. There was
And we
one,
still haven't reached the monetization level we have to say
no,
either, but it's just that it doesn't count all this stuff that we have if we have licensed music on it. It doesn't count towards the
yeah,
monetization level. So
which is so
we're
silly.
still at the $3,000 level, which is okay,
Hmm.
but we need to get to $4,000 $4,000 4,000 hours 4,000
Yeah,
hours of watch time, I should say. And we're right now we're at 3,000 hours for the year, but if we need to get to 4,000 hours. Well, YouTube has taken away, I think like it's crazy, like almost I think it's like 800 hours of watch time because we had so much of videos early on when I posted with licensed music. So they just basically, I think they took away, it was almost 800 hours worth of
yeah.
videos that they're so, oh, you can't monetize that, sorry. So it was like, oh crap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the frustrating part is like if I'm doing a break-in with Brent segment and I'm walking by somewhere and there's music going, they will
Mm,
flag that, everybody.
yeah.
They will
Yeah.
flag that. I mean, really,
And
like I
I'll be honest, like I understand that. I understand that
yeah,
because the people that make the music, they should get paid for because it is licensed property. It is that does belong to
yeah.
somebody. So it makes sense. It does
It,
make sense. It's just
in a way,
unfortunate. It's
but it is,
unfortunate.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like we have
For
Rifflandia in Victoria for 4 days. So imagine if I'm doing a break-in with Brent and there's some kind of activity going on that caught my eye, and I think, hey, this is neat. And all of a sudden you got Rifflandia that's in the distance, somewhere in the distance, and YouTube picks up on the music somewhere. I mean, I
Mhm.
could be up where I am right now, and I'm away from the downtown area where Rifflandia is. The sound echoes up to here. So if I'm doing some other segment, watching, say, some old houses getting torn down, and there's music, and it does echo up to where I am, and I'm
Mhm.
quite a ways away from downtown.
Mhm.
If YouTube picks up on that sound, they'll flag it, and I have
Yeah.
no control on that, everybody. So I
Yeah.
apologize. Is that if our our monetization is taking a lot longer? I mean, nothing against YouTube, but I mean
It's
the
my
music
fault, kind of, Brent.
they,
It's my fault, kind of, because I was the one that put a whole bunch of licensed stuff at the beginning of all our videos.
yeah.
In the early couple of years, I did that. But
Yeah, but
anyway,
it
it
happens.
is what it is.
But I mean, we had some like tribute artists where I was at
Yeah.
OK, and yeah, we had a tea party festival, which was so cool, and it was so
Hmm.
frustrating because they were like really good music artists, and but the Bare Naked Ladies, they didn't flag it. They flagged Billy Joel. I mean, go
Yeah. That's
figure.
weird,
Like,
eh? Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
YouTube. I mean, the taste of music here. I mean, you gotta
Yeah.
love some of this music. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually talked to one of them. I bumped into one guy, and he says, "Hey, you look familiar." And I gave him one of the cards from our PWD Allies cards,
Mm.
and he says, "Awesome." He says, I love your YouTube channel." I said, "Do you tune in?" He says, "I do." And guess what? He says, "I like how you edited down the part there. You kept in the Bare Naked Ladies, but you took out Billy Joel. Why did you do that?" I go, "We didn't. We didn't take it out." "What?" "No, YouTube took it out." "Why?"
Yeah.
I go,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess they don't
Yeah.
like Billy Joel. I guess.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah." He
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, they're too picky." He says, "The problem
Yeah.
is that YouTube, whoever's behind there, they're just too picky."
And
He's
again,
like,
I do understand it on one level. I do.
"Yeah, on a
But
certain
it's
level, I
just kind
do,
of
but
unfortunate. Yeah.
I think that maybe they need to relax a little bit on
A
that."
little bit. Yeah.
I told him, I said, if that was the case, I would have actually said to you, "Can I have permission?" I said, I would have, I said, and he says, "I would have done it for free, man. I mean, I'm not going to bill you for it." I'd be like, "Yeah, no
Mhm.
problem." He says, "I'm sure Billy Joel wouldn't have cared, man. I really, probably not." I said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I mean, I had a chance, almost had a chance of actually seeing him." Um, well, maybe no, he was
I love it.
playing.
I love this song. Honesty is
Yeah,
such a lonely word.
yeah,
Everyone is so untrue.
untrue. Reminds me of that movie Liar Liar. Remember?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, the
Yeah,
lawyer. Yeah,
yeah. Another
yeah.
liar.
Remember?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
I can't lie. I can't. Jim Carrey. I
That
can't.
was a good movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to punch out
Yeah.
Brent.
Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a great day, and we'll see you on a Monday. And our guest will be Neil.
Monday, I actually don't know if I'm
Nope.
allowed to say who it is
Oh,
yet.
yeah. Okay.
But when
So
I'm allowed to say who it
it'll be a
is, I
surprise.
will post it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be a surprise.
I like maybe I am allowed to say it. I'm not sure, so I don't want to say it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now it's the mystery, but stay tuned Mondays. That will
Yeah.
be kind of the hint. Watch kind of a
Yeah.
teaser. Yeah.
Okay. Cheers,
Take care,
everyone.
everyone. Bye.
Okay.